Hello. Today we're going to review what it means to divide, and so we're going to do that by thinking about the two different ways in which we can think about and understand division. And one of those is to think about how many might be in each group when we divide something, and the other one is how many groups we have after we divide something. So for our review today, you're going to need some materials. You will either need a whiteboard and a marker and eraser or some paper and pencil. And then you're also going to need some sort of manipulative tool that you can use that will be a counter. So you could use things like pennies or buttons or beads or something like that, but you're going to need to make sure you have about 40 to 50 of those available. So I'd like you to pause the video right now so you can gather the materials you need, and then we'll move on. So hopefully you have all the materials now that you need to help us move forward. We're going to take a look at this very first problem. It's about Anna and baking cookies. So Anna baked 12 cookies. If she shares them equally among her 3 friends, how many cookies does each friend get? So I want you to pause for just a moment and think about what this problem means. So we can see that we have 12 cookies here. And what always helps me think about this kind of a problem, because I need to share them equally with her 3 friends, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to kind of draw a little space that's going to represent each of her 3 friends. And then what I'm going to do from there is I'm going to actually distribute or share each of the cookies among her 3 friends. So this friend gets a cookie, this friend gets a cookie, this friend gets a cookie. And as you can see, I'm going to continue to share the cookies with each of the friends until all the cookies have been shared. And now we can see that each of her friends gets 4 cookies. I'd like you to take a moment right now with your 12 counters, and I'd like you to try sharing those 12 cookies among 3 friends as well. Now we're going to take a look at another problem, which is slightly different from the one that we looked at previously. In this problem, again, Anna baked 12 cookies. If she gives 3 cookies to each of her friends, how many friends can she feed? So I'd like you to take a moment and think about how this problem is alike with the problem before, and also how it's different. One thing that's alike is that we're starting out with the 12 cookies that Anna baked again. But something that's different is in this problem, we don't know how many friends Anna has. So instead, we know the amount of cookies that she gave to each of her friends. So we're going to have to solve this problem just a little bit differently. Now, there's a couple of different ways that we can do this. One of those is that we can just use this idea kind of circling the groups of cookies. So I can see for every 3 cookies, this is going to represent 1 friend who's able to get a cookie. So here I've circled 3 cookies 4 times, so that means each of the friends, the 4 friends, gets 3 cookies. There's another way I can do that as well. So if you have your 12 counters again, we can also move our counters. And so I can actually pull my counters. Here's 3 cookies that belong to 1 friend. Here's another 3 cookies that belong to another friend. Here's 3 cookies that belong to the 3rd friend, and that leaves me with the 3 cookies that belong to the 4th friend. So I can do it either by moving my cookies around or my counters around, or I can do it by thinking about circling. Regardless, I'm going to still have each of my 4 friends getting the 3 cookies. Let's take a moment and revisit these problems because I want to take a look at what happens if we were going to write an equation to represent what was happening. We just saw what you did with the counters. Now we're going to try writing equations. So actually, I want to give you a moment to try to write the equation for each of these problems. So if you want to pause the video for a moment and go ahead and try to write that, I'd appreciate you doing that. Okay, so hopefully you had a chance to write an equation. For the first one, where we had Anna's 12 cookies and she shares them among her 3 friends, we can think of that as 12 divided by 3, which gives us 4. And if we think about this other problem, Anna baked the 12 cookies and she gave 3 cookies to each of her friends. How many friends can she feed? Interestingly, we also can represent that as 12 divided by 3 equals 4. But there's something important going on that's a little bit different in these two problems. So let's go back and look at the first one and think about the context of the problem, the story. So we know that the 12 represents the cookies. Okay? And the 3 right here represents friends. So the 4 means that they get 4 cookies each. If we look at this problem down here, though, we can see again the 12 represents the cookies. But here the 3 represents the 3 cookies each. So the 4 in this case actually represents friends. So you can see that even though we ended up writing the exact same equation for both of these problems, you can see that our labels or our units end up being different based on the situation in the problem. So now we have a new problem here. A restaurant puts 4 slices of cheese on each sandwich. How many sandwiches can they make with 24 pieces of cheese? So what I want you to do is first try to figure out if this problem is asking for how many are in each group or how many groups are there. Then what I'd like you to do is, using your counters, represent what happens as you do the division problem. And then finally, try writing an equation that models this situation. So I want you to go ahead and pause the video for a moment while you do your work. So hopefully you've had a chance to think about this. As I look at the problem, I notice that I already know how many slices of cheese are going on each sandwich. So I'm really thinking about my sandwich as my groups. So to me, this means this is a problem that's asking how many groups. And so to help me solve that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to see how many groups of 4 slices of cheese will fit in these 24 pieces. So here's one sandwich, here's another sandwich, and another, and another, here's another, and then one more. So as I can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total sandwiches that I can make. So if I wanted to write an equation to model this situation, I have 24 pieces of cheese, and I'm dividing that by 4 pieces of cheese each in each sandwich, and that's going to give me 6 sandwiches. So here's another division problem, and I want you to use the same process to analyze it and work through it. Let's read it together. Mr. Rodriguez has 4 supply boxes with the same number of scissors in each box. Altogether, he has 16 scissors. How many scissors are in each of Mr. Rodriguez's boxes? So
Okay,
again,
so
the first thing I want you to
had a
do is
chance
think about and
to,
reflect
try
on
this
which
problem
type of
out.
division
As
is
I'm
this
looking
problem
at it,
showing us.
I'm
Is
thinking
it
about
asking
the
for
how
how
many
many
supply
are in each
boxes
group,
as the
or is it
groups of
asking
things
for how
that
many
holding
groups?
the
Then what I
scissors.
want you to do
And so,
is use
since
your
I already know
counters
how many groups,
to
I'm going to try to
represent the
see
situation,
how many of these
and
scissors
actually
I can
fit
show
into
the
each of those
division.
4 supply
And then
boxes.
I'd like you to try to
So
write
I'm
an
actually
equation
going to try
that
to
represents
kind of
and models
create
this situation.
something that shows
So pause the video
that.
now
So let me
have a few moments
move some
to
of these
work.
scissors out of the way so I have some space to work. Here. Let's see here. So this is one of my boxes. Here's another supply box, and here they are right here. Okay, so I'm going to start moving these. In fact, I can see nicely that 2 of those fit in there pretty nicely each. Oh, interestingly enough, look, I kind of actually have them stacked. I can really actually pull those down, so that's kind of cool, isn't it? One thing that can be really helpful if you're using counters or coins or things like that to help you move stuff around to show the division is that you can use index cards or post-it notes to represent your groups. So that's kind of helpful. So here in the end, I can see that I have 4 pairs of scissors in each of the supply boxes. So if I was going to write my equation, that would be my 16 scissors divided by my 4 supply boxes, which gives me 4 scissors in each box. In wrapping up our review of division today, we want to keep in mind that we need to look at the word problem or the situation to figure out which way we're supposed to think about division. Is the problem asking for us to think about how many are in each group, or is the problem asking us to think about how many groups? So I want to thank you for spending some time with me today and thinking about division, and I hope that you will join me again soon for another math video.